Jesus can't be forced on anyone. The Lord is a gentleman in the same way that he wooed your heart and brought you close to him. He's going to do the same thing with your kids. You're leading by example and showing why it's worth it to trust him is going to be your greatest gift to them. It's not going to be you shoving the Lord down their throat like, that's it, I'm pulling the rug out of everything. I want all these CDs gone. I want this gone. I want this gone. And I want it done now, right? They will want nothing to do with your Jesus. Welcome to the Pastor's Lounge. I'm Sheri, your unapologetically Christian therapist. Here we talk about all things mental health and wellness from a biblical perspective. So today, we are going to talk about the topic more so from a parent's perspective, someone who has given their life to the Lord later in life and now have teen kids, and you're wondering, what do I tell them now? There's a lot that I've allowed, that I have permitted, maybe you participated in, and now Jesus has stepped in. Welcome. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful place to be. But there's a lot of undoing that's ahead of you, and it can feel daunting. And I just want to open this space to be able to talk about just, first of all, the beauty of giving your life to the Lord, but also now the challenge of having specifically probably teenage, adolescent kids, little tiny guys. They'll make their adjustments, and ideally will adapt to the new way that you are raising them with a little bit more ease. But there's something about coming after your 16-year-old and saying, yeah, that music that I would usually be just ignoring, being like, whatever, it's just teen stuff. Yeah, now we just can't play that in here. Right? So expect some pushback is probably the first thing I would say, and be patient with them. The most important thing to realize is that just because you gave your heart to Jesus, your kids didn't yet necessarily, if that's the case that you're in. And Jesus can't be forced on anyone. The Lord is a gentleman in the same way that he wooed your heart and brought you close to him. He's going to do the same thing with your kids. And so you're leading by example and showing why it's worth it to trust him is going to be your greatest gift to them. It's not going to be you shoving the Lord down their throat like, that's it, I'm pulling the rug out of everything. I want all these CDs gone. I want this gone. I want this gone. And I want it done now, right? They will want nothing to do with your Jesus if that is the approach you're taking. So here's my suggestion, and you listen, and you're allowed to disagree. This is all just my clinical and just kind of experiential opinion. But of course, your home dynamic, your kids, the situation you're in, and you have to take this first and foremost to the Lord and ask him for wisdom and discernment and the right way to approach potentially each of your kids differently. It may not be something that you just sit them all down in one room and say, here, listen guys, here's kind of what's happened. It may need to be something that has to be discussed individually because they all have different temperaments and personalities. So let's assume that we have an ideal situation and all the kids are, 1, 2, 3 of them, whatever it is, they're all in one room. You're sitting with them together and you're sharing from this new awareness that you've come to, this new decision that you've made. And so some sample verbiage I would offer is something like, guys, first of all, I need to tell you what happened. You've known mommy to be this person all these years, and I've given my heart to the Lord, and here's what that means, and here's how I know that I'm different, that he saved me, he loves me, and that I'm a different mom now, or a different dad now, or whoever you are, whatever position you're in, raising these young people. And so be honest, tell them about your story coming to the Lord, because that's precious, right? Just the realities of what that experience is like. And then there's taking ownership for the errors that were made in your pre-Jesus life. So yes, humbling yourself and saying you're sorry, right? Saying that, listen, there's some things that I let you get away with up to this point that I ignored, that I even applauded, agreed with, joined you in, and did in my ignorance and not knowing any better, not knowing spiritually what was healthier for you. And there are going to be some changes that I'm going to have to make in order to better show my love and care for you, to better demonstrate my desire to protect you and to keep you from things that up to this point I didn't realize were harmful. I didn't consider the negative impact. So I'm not going to rip the rug out from you immediately and just say, that's it, I'm going to run through this house with a garbage bag and, just ransack everything. But we're going to work our way into some changes together. And I'm going to explain to you why they're important. And you have to honestly give them room to not love it, right? It's the equivalent of if you're a single parent, for example, and you're introducing a new partner, right? Someone, which is really what's happening, right? You have married in Jesus. You're introducing them to your new husband, your bride, and so you're bringing this person in, and they're like, oh, you don't know him, like, we don't know her, like, who's this, right? And you kind of have to ease them in, and it can't just be this overhaul. And there has to be time. There has to be trust built and developed over time. It doesn't just happen overnight, and so therefore you can't expect your kids to get it or even agree or even buy into it overnight. Your lifestyle is going to be the biggest ticket, how they see the difference in you. And you're being able to explain to them the rationale behind saying, yeah, son, daughter, I used to ignore that smell coming from your room, that weed you're smoking, that I know you're smoking, you think I can smell it, I can. And I would just shrug it off and think, whatever, they're stressed, it's okay, I did it, whatever. We can't smoke in this house anymore, right? Or we can't, I'm going to be getting the alcohol out of here, and we're going to really diminish that. Or I'm going to be changing up the music that I listen to, because now it really matters what I'm putting in my spirit. I don't want to hear some of those themes that I was listening to before. And I'm going to be a little bit more particular about what I let you play out loud in the house, right now, because, we're serving the Lord, and we have to take some different approaches to it, because it's really now about what's that doing to you on the inside. Let's think about what we're listening to, and maybe play some of the music and be like, yeah, you hear that and you hear that. What's that mean? What kind of image does that bring up in your mind? Where does that take you in your heart? Yeah, right? Not so good, right? You have to start teaching that, laying that out, giving examples. Maybe you were the one who would let your son or daughter dress any old kind of way, and you loved, the fact that you had the cutest little teenager who could get away with the super skin tight stuff and the little crop tops and all the extra stuff. And now you're starting to feel differently about it, and they're used to it. They're comfortable. And here you go, like, well, we're going to have to talk about that outfit, or it's going to be hard, right? Like, don't expect that it's just going to be this quick thing. You just swoop in and everyone's going to love your Jesus just like you in seconds. And if you have that scenario, God bless you. Congratulations. But I imagine there are more on the other side where it was a bit of a struggle. And if you move too quick and you come in too fast and too furious, you're going to spook them. And they're not going to want this Lord that you love. So I suggest that you treat it gingerly. You give them room to ask questions. You give them room to express their concerns, their reservations, their frustrations about it, again, as if you were bringing a partner into the family that you have now come to a place of marriage with, or ideally that would be something they've gotten to know over some time, right? And that's really how it is with the Lord, right? There's the exposure and time and a little bit more quality time that adds up to the point where you're making that type of permanent decision. But then there's also the transition between, this is just my partner, someone that I'm dating, to this is now my husband or my wife, and we're living here, they're living here, and it changes things, and it's not always easy up front. So when you take it from that perspective and you take the time to be conscientious, really think about how this impacts them, what this means for the life that they've known up to this point. You're basically telling them every way that we've lived up till now has been wrong, and I need to redo it. That's a lot to take in. So my advice is, be patient, be gracious, be honest. And also, at some point, yes, you're going to have to be firm. You will have to follow through when you say, we're going to ease our way into making some of these changes. Now, some stuff you may have to just do immediately and swiftly as the Lord instructs you, and some stuff you may have to ease them into, thinking about purifying their music or purifying the way they're dressing, and certain friends that they're around, and things that perhaps prior you're like, no big deal, and now it is a big deal because you're thinking from God's perspective. Maybe to ease into that, and some things may have to be a matter of, okay, listen, effective immediately. We have a curfew. We never used to. I used to let y'all do what you want, come home when you want. Effective immediately, though, for your safety and because I want to be a better parent, more vigilant. Everyone's in the house by 10. What? What do you mean? We used to be out at 10 o'clock. Or I'm going to be locking the house. I'm going to be locking the doors at 10 p.m. and you better be on the inside or there are going to be consequences. And then once, not if, once they test this proposal of yours and never mind, you're not going to do that, Dad. You won't take my keys. You wouldn't do that to me. You would, okay, right? And you're going to have to follow through. And you're going to have to follow through with whatever consequences you set and show them, I'm not kidding. I know you don't love this, but I have to be consistent. I have to be a person of my word. I didn't used to be, but now I know that that's not what God wants for me, and it's not His best for you, right? Hard changes, hardships, necessary for their well-being. Of course, we can consider that from here and now, but that's not how they're going to hear it up front in most cases. So making sure that you're prepared for some of that uphill battle, but knowing that God is with you, He is for you, He saved you for a reason, He saved you for them, to have this access to Him through you and to be shown a different way of living, a different way of being loved and cared for with more specific parameters and consequences and rewards, right? And just showing them the love of God and taking ownership for the things that have not been done right. So it's not like you're blaming them. You're taking that on. I didn't know better. And I parented you out of that. And I have to make this change if we're going to be a healthy family. And ultimately, their hearts are in God's hands. You can't make them love Jesus. You can't make them sign on to that life, but you can certainly live an exemplary life in front of them and make God attractive. And then the Lord is the one who ultimately wins them over in His time. So I encourage you, stand strong, be faithful, love them, be patient with them, and the Lord will do His own wooing in His way as you endeavor to raise your kids for Him. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been a blessing and an encouragement to you. If it has, be sure to like and subscribe. And until next time, I pray that you prosper and you are in good health, even and especially as your soul prospers.